Looks like there's only one way to go. Oh, I thought it was going to keep going. Headwind remembers that. Alright, there we go. Where are we trying to get to? Some keys here? Something on the ground? Can we pick this up? No. No, so... Guess we came down from those stairs, right? Yeah. Even though there is a keyhole, we don't need that key because that door's open. Wow. Is he trying to get me with that? Probably been drinking. He thinks he's playing a claw machine. I think we need a key card for that. And possibly one for that. Be a tad far, but we'll give it a go. Oh! Just gotta watch that shadow. Oh man. Okay, so if you die, it loads up the... I forgot about that. It doesn't load up to the load screen. It goes back to the main menu and you get the new game screen. Hey man. Yeah, the game that we were playing was going really well. And then all of a sudden, we got a... You have a curse. No healing is disabled. At a shrine. And there was 3 options. There was... I can't remember what the first 2 were. And then one of them was... take the money. So I'm like, take the money. Okay. Don't need the other 2. I'll take the money. And it goes, okay, with this, you've also now been cursed and healing is disabled. And just proceeded to go through some fights and get whittled down and die. And I'd made a sort of a tongue-in-cheek comment earlier in the game about I'm not going to interact with stuff that, like, we went to a tavern and I chose just to leave because I'm like, I don't know what any of this does. Because it gave me 3 options that didn't really tell me anything. It was just sort of do this and do this. It's like, it's too vague. I don't know what's going to happen. This one actually told you the outcomes. It was, you can receive this, or you can receive this, or you can receive that. And I'm like, I'm going to take the 3rd option. There was an option to just leave, but when it tells you the outcomes, it's like, why would I be leaving? I'll just take one of the 3 outcomes. And it goes, here you go, bonus outcome. You're screwed. You lose the run. And I was feeling really strong. Like, we beat the first 2 bosses quite handily. We beat the elite bosses in each of the levels, or we'll call them elite bosses because they were tougher and had other stuff. And everything was great. It's like, yeah, this is good. And you've got to eventually try stuff like that to see what happens. But things like that in games, it can really put you off. If you don't have... usually what happens is someone will have save files of a game, like they'll make backup saves, and they'll go do those other options. And then you get a wiki, right? And that way you can know, don't take this option because it screws you. But what happens in the meantime is you miss out on potential good options. Because you're like, I don't want to interact with anything because the game screws you. Are you talking about FTL? With 2 Panz brain? Oh, FTL is fun. Hey, head wound. Oh, dude, there was an alarm. When we came in here, there was a cutscene and it was going... It even called you out and you weren't here. Other than that, the game was fine. It seemed fun. But it feels like there's the broken combinations are too, or the winning combinations are too simple. Unless the enemies really ramped up, because what we could do it was after like the first fight in, let's call it level 3 or act 3, so just after I beat the second boss, went and did something, touched the thing behind it to get the rewards, did that, got cursed, and went, I'm screwed. Went back and checked out the tavern in the second wing that I didn't do to see if that maybe there's a curse removal. Checked stuff in town. Couldn't get a curse removal. Died. Oh, I shouldn't need much brain to play a Lara joke. Wait. So there's also a balcony there, which I think I can get up on somehow. Unless there's a key card on the floor in here somewhere. I got you. I got you. Overall, I gotta say I did like the game. It was the card play was fine. You know, it had I didn't say anything special or new, but the in between fights, walking around stuff. Adding the torch to map, and I couldn't really work out what else the torch was doing. That could be a hard just remove. Like, it doesn't serve any purpose. Someone said they were playing it, and I'm like, oh, what is it? And you have and they asked for a link, and they linked it. I'm like, I like the look of this. Like, it had cards, it looked clean. It was, you know. So we downloaded it while I was playing Monster Train, and then when it was ready, I'm like, okay, let's play it. Yeah, it definitely needed just a map. We talked about Star Renegades, I think it is, that has the same sort of issue where it's got a map you actually walk around, but you've got to walk up to the next enemy. And in that game, so the difference, like Grail that we played today, the enemies are at certain locations, you walk up to them and there's a fight. And sometimes there's random fights that feels like, you know, you're walking around the map in Final Fantasy and all of a sudden there's a fight. Kind of feels like that. Okay? Which, totally cool if you're trying to put some RPG elements into it. But, again, like, the Star Renegades one didn't have any of that. You just had to look around the map to find where you wanted to go for the next fight. But the problem with that is, and using Slay the Spire as a really good example, of what you get out of not having that. You get a map that lets you see the entire map. You can scroll up and down and see in Act 1 where the elites are, where the fires are, the shops, and you can plan a path, which is really beneficial because you can be like, okay, we can go this way or this way, and let's weigh up the pros and cons, and ultimately you pick a path, you start going, and sometimes your strategy includes a fork in the road, and you're like, if we're strong here, we'll go left. If not, we'll go right. You know, the one in Star Renegades was really hard to navigate around. Like, you just couldn't see enough of it at once. And what you could see wasn't very indicative of what was there. Like, you had to get more information by clicking on that node and finding out about it. And then, you know, while you were looking around, if you didn't remember what was there exactly, you'd look at it again. Whereas Slay the Spire, the Mega Crit guys did a really good job on that map design where, you know, it just tells you what it is. Yeah, we've got to come in from there, right? So how do I get across there? Yeah, Deck of Ashes has a map that does that. Like, it tells you exactly what's at the node. Monster Train does it as well. Like, Monster Train, the pathing's a lot easier. The funny thing is, and it's something I'm doing a little bit more of, and other players I watch do it as well. You don't do as much checking out the whole map, but mostly because it's very long. Like, if you were to look at the whole map, it's too long, right? Can the crane pick up boxes if I debate it? Oh, good thing. Let's try it. What can we try to debate? Do we want to try and debate it? Like, is there any we want to try and debate? We could try it. can't get that one. It doesn't seem like it. Okay. There's a key, an actual key. Since I know that's there, let's just go back to this one. Well, that's exactly right, Kizrod. It was, like the game we were playing today, it was literally just walking from node to node. But there's also this weird resource with the candle, which I couldn't find the negative reason for not having a candle up. Oh, there's a overhang, so the crane guy can't get in under here. Right, where you light a candle and it gives you there was 5 bars, and it gives you 2 bars of light. But not having a candle lit didn't seem to do anything. So it's like, okay, there's no candle lit, what's the deal? What it didn't do is it didn't write the map down, which wasn't a very complex map anyway. The map system was basically like, it was like 5 fingers, I think, you know, on each one, and the boss would be at the end of the middle finger, which is appropriate. So apart from that, the walking thing was, and the other thing too is that there's a lot of resources go into, like if you're developing a 3D game, there's a lot of resources go into the models and terrain and just like writing the algorithms that will, like if you're trying to generate or if you want to like statically design them, like you got to put a lot of effort in. And we have a key, but this is where we came from. Is there another door like this somewhere? I think there was one on the opposite side of where we were. And that's the thing, unless there's an actual reason apart from just fluffing about to be physically walking a model from somewhere to somewhere, it's just a big money sink and time sink. It makes sense to walk Lara from one door to the other instead of just clicking on a map going node to node, right? Because this is the type of game it is. In a deck builder, it really doesn't make that much sense it just gets in the way. And then, like after the tutorial, like after the first boss, sorry. So we did the tutorial twice because it crashed after beating dying to the tutorial boss. Ben, I thought I was hearing a bell. Is it Lara jingling? Where's this bell coming? I thought I was going insane in that. Pick up the key card. Coco would come out because she's got a little bell on her because she's so silent. You know, we don't want to step on her if she sneaks up behind us. Coco, wait, did she actually? Are you guys hearing it? Hang on, I'm gonna put my speakers off. Is there a bell? Are you guys hearing a bell? Coco. It has to be in the game. It's in the game? Okay, because I've turned my speakers off. I can't hear any game sounds now. So if you guys are hearing a bell, it means Coco hasn't sort of snuck out here or whatever. No, I turned my speakers back on there. Okay, so the bell's in the game. It's Santa! Yeah, the walking around. So the only time maybe walking around in a map, and still probably not the best, is if you use your directional keys and the characters walk to the node in the next direction. right? So maybe if in Slay the Spire, you know, if you've only got two choices, left and right, you push either left or right, and the character walks in that direction, I don't know. Or whatever game you're playing. But even then it seems kind of like a waste. Because you don't get that much game feel out of it. Like, it doesn't feel more RPG because you're controlling a person in a third-person character rig. You know, on the way to the next encounter, that when you get there, you've just got to click on their icon and then start a card fight. Especially if it's a roguish game. If that's your aim, is you want it to be replayable and roguelike. Well, it's in early access, so they could still be working on more stuff, but I can't see whatever they do enhancing it. Oh, run, Lara. Coco's paranormal and floating about, that'd be kind of cool. In a scary kind of way. Well, like I said, I think the biggest disappointment... The game was good, though. Outside of that, like, I can look past that to a certain extent. It wasn't holding up that much of the time, because it felt like the map didn't really matter. You just did all the fights, leveled up, and then did the boss fight. Whereas in Star Renegades, the order in which you did fights was important. Because you couldn't do them all. And that's where it was even more frustrating. You couldn't do them all. You had to see where the enemies were closing in, they potentially closing a sector next time, and then use that to go, well, where are they closing the sector after that? And because you couldn't see all the map, it made it very hard to be like, okay, well, if I go to this one, it means they could close off this one later. Well, that's what I was talking about as well, because if there's a downside of, like a serious downside of running out of light, or you want to strategically place it or something, that means now you're sort of hugging the walls and geometry becomes a deal. And that's... I'm not saying it wouldn't work. I haven't yet seen physical 3D controlling mix well with deck builder. Now, Hand of Fate's different, before anyone brings it up, because the 3D controlling element matters. Like, that's the combat. I can't comment on Chandelier. I'm not familiar with it. Possibly the best deck builder if I like Magic the Gathering. Oh, is it player versus player? Then in my perspective it'd be one of the worst because I don't like PvP. No, okay. Is it this... Okay. Is it player versus bot? Okay. That's the same as player versus player, except you've got an AI construct in there. Whereas we look at like Slay the Spire or Monster Train, it's not player versus bot. Like that's definitely player versus game. No, because the Monster Train don't use a deck of cards. Okay? It's not a yeah, they don't have the same sort of stake in the game that you have. The same as in Slay the Spire, they don't have the same set of rule set. That's what differentiates. It isn't player versus bot. Well, I just asked if it was. Oh, you're saying in general. Yeah. So, even though you can kind of figure out the strategies that certain bots and stuff utilize, which is that's the next different one, is that if certain bot players do the exact same thing, so all you have to do is work out once how to beat them and then just keep doing that, then it's kind of dull, because especially in turn-based strategy games, if you just have to do the one thing that you need to do all the time. And again, I'm only talking general because I can't talk about Chandelier, I haven't played it. Just from general experience. But yeah, usually incorporating a 3D concept, like fighting concept or whatever, and card doesn't work unless the 3D concept is the main part of the game. The AI was done really well. So the problem with that is that's now player versus player. Which, if you don't like player versus player because you don't want to be doing head-to-head stuff against other people, a good AI is just another player, right? I might have to go... Well, can we jump from the top? Hang on. Just saying if the main part of a game is like turn-based card strategy, shoehorning in some sort of metagame 3D character manipulation with consequence usually doesn't fly because it goes against what people bought the game for. Now, there will be some people that will be like, oh, this added to my experience and makes the game even better. But you're sort of hitting outside your target audience there. This claw is frustrating. More so than challenging. It's just frustrating. Hey! I mean, it was honest and fair though. Nothing weird about it. Whereas the other way around, if you have cards get added as a side thing to a 3D physical based thing, that can be like a feature or, you know, part of the thing. Hand of Fate's a really good example of that, where you have a 3D action based game that has a little bit of card play. Oh, go, Lara, go. Don't let me fight the bad guy. Nice work, Lara. Instead of combat being calculated, it's card combat. Yeah, so that seems like a reasonable mix. Like you're adding strategy elements to strategy elements. You're not having your core gameplay be strategy elements up against reflective. So where you have strategy elements, working with like action elements together, is when the action is this not the door we opened up? One where the action is the main part, but also where the strategy is being applied to the action. Something like Hades is a really good example where you can have combos and you're picking the abilities and pathing through based on your decision learning. Noida is another one where it's a full action game, but you're adding strategy to improve your action. It's like taking talents or things. Edward. Do I own Tomb Raider 2013? Is that just is that what they call the remake one? Or is that the first one of the new trilogy? Oh, the remake one, Anniversary? I may or may not have the Anniversary one, the one that's just a straight redo of one, but I definitely have all the games. It's the first new trilogy. I'm like, I want to say 100% positive, but whenever I get asked a question like that, I doubt myself. But I would say yes, I do have it. Although if I don't, I'll hit you up. Through the window. Or a giant swarm of normal-sized. Whoa. Yeah, thanks, man. I seem to be getting through them faster. This one in particular, the levels feel very well designed, and more importantly, there's no backtracking into previous levels. If you get to the exit of the level, you've progressed. There's no going back, which, for anyone who doesn't know the story, I'll tell you, and for everyone who does, you can groan because you're going to hear it again. Hey, look, I found a secret. I think it was 3. Like 1 and 2 were okay. They were just mazy, right? Yeah, you start getting better design implementation. Yeah. And that's what, like 1 and 2 were just very mazy, but the key system was very, honestly, like Mark Brown's Game Maker's Toolkit does a really good series on locks and keys, and covers the Zelda games about it. Anyone that's seen that series knows exactly what I'm talking about. How you know, if you path out a lot of these games, you can just sort of, and he does them in. He does these little graphs to sort of show the flow of the game, like where the lock is and where the key is. But you can reduce it if you've got a really windy path, and at the end of it is a key. You can just draw a line and be like, okay, we can get to the key now, and the lock for that goes over to this door, and behind that one's another key and stuff. And that's all that Tomb Raider 1 and 2 were. And I think. The level design in 1 and 2 were good, though, because they were simplistically designed where you just had to look around and find a hole up in the wall and then be like, okay, I need to jump up and explore there, and there'd be a key at the end of it. Kind of like there's a key here. And then you go find the door that unlocks the key. Wait. Then you go find the door that the key unlocks. And that's it. Which, for the most part, if you really lay out a lot of game levels, you can break it down into... You have to be able to access the key. Like, when you walk into a level, if you can't get straight to the exit because there's a locked door in the way, you need to be able to access a key to unlock it. Well, that makes sense. Key first, then door. But you can branch it off and say, go left to get the key, the locked door is on the right. You know, are there 2 keys over here and then 2 doors? Or do you go key, door, and then this key goes back to that door? You know, it's relatively simple. What 3 did to try and compensate for this was they had these sprawling levels where you needed multiple keys for the same door, and then you needed like some sort of sub key to get to the main key. Like there'd be a locked door in front of the, you know, so you need 4 end keys or 4 pieces, right? And each piece is behind a locked door. And sometimes some of the keys are for the next ones are with the doors and stuff. And it was good and all, but the levels were just so huge. Right, in doing this. And so if you missed a key back near the start, like the traversal was just forever. And there was so much space, like you were literally looking for a needle in a haystack type of deal. Literally. Figuratively. And apparently that was a big complaint from a lot of people in playing Tomb Raider at the time, was that the overall levels are just too large. So they went, okay, we can break these down. Basically, they made the exact same levels. Well, not the exact same style of level. But what they did is they just put breakpoints in them. And they thought, oh, this is good because it won't take as long to load. But they allowed you to backtrack. It's like, well, hang on. Now that I can backtrack and I need to get, you know, the 4 pieces I need, I use at the end of the big zone. But there's... you know, 4 zones amongst them all. I had another door key. What was locked somewhere else? Was it somewhere here, or do we go back inside the building here? We go back inside the building. Basically, it didn't make the levels any smaller. In fact, some of the ones in 4 were larger than the ones in 3 because you had to backtrack 2 levels or go through this other part. And it made it very hard to know. You got to the end of a level, you didn't know if you were missing anything or not. A lot of aimless walking around. Whereas these levels are very straightforward. You know, you find the stuff, you either find a locked door or you, like what happened with us, we found a key. Now we find a locked door. We go through, and it's likely that we don't go back behind us in the level anymore. And we'll get to another fork in the level. Oh, here we go. This is the door to outside where we just were.
You forget, Mikhailov. I am still an admiral of the Russian Navy, and as such, demand respect.
While you accept my bribes for use of the submarine, you are under my employ, and will follow my instructions without complaint.
If I deal with the like of you to keep my men in bread, it does not make me one of you.
Ha ha! Relax, my friend. We are 2 sides of the same coin.
Mafioso filth. Khrushchev, hurry on with that box. Our new commander demands efficiency. Enough, enough! Board and seal hatches.
As you have promoted me to commander, is it not fitting to board
The Cosmocrat.
Admiral?
Yes, Pillar. Yeah, so it's very likely, like, so the other part of the level was over there. It's unlikely we need to go back that way. And even if we did, it's not too bad, because we haven't moved on to the next level. There's a door, there's a couple of doors over there with locks in them. Man, Cosmocrats was good. I have a feeling that you make it to the end of the... unless you do really badly, I think you can make it to the end of Cosmocrats no matter what. You just get a different story ending. Okay, so we have bullets and a laser sight. Sharks with the lasers. So I'm guessing we need to put... that's just a clue to put it on our... put our laser pistol on and shoot something specific. What specific thing do you think we shoot? And is that a climbing wall? Oh, okay, it's a new story, so we don't have,
No.
I don't have another gun to combine it on. We don't have any of our weapons because this is the new story. Like, Lara's friends are telling stories about her because she died. She didn't die. This swipe card's getting some work, though. Lara's in the shower, boys. You dog. Oh. Okay, so there's a button we can press, but also... I didn't even think. Lockers? Ammo. Which one of these will have a trap? What is that? Is that something we need to take the shower? It's a heated bathroom, kids run. Gotta love it when the animations are like super slow and take forever. I'm just stoked in Dragon Age. You want to speak to the vendor? You go speak to the vendor. you want to sell stuff, you click on their chest, like, not their chest, but their box chest on the ground, and just start selling stuff. No talk, no nothing. You put it in the selling, you take out the buying, that's it. Talking to them is for quests only. Is one of the things I hate the most about, like, classic RPG style games is every time you want to speak to a vendor, like do something at a vendor, you've got to have that dialogue first. And sometimes multiple suggestions of what to get through before you can pick, let me see your wares. Did we just open the door to upstairs? Open the shortcut to the door to upstairs? Ah, we did. Okay, so what are we going back for then? We need to find another key? I don't know about that. What is this thing we picked up? A fuse. Where do we need a fuse? There's only one place I could think of that could use a fuse. Seriously, what is that now? Well, I thought we were going to take it in the shower first, and yeah, it would have been something like that with Lara gone wild. I was really happy with the way the whole Tainted Grail scenario came about, though. I'd love to do something like that. Yeah, I was saying on a regular basis where we search through some recommendations or just look at games on Steam and pick one, get it, download it, and then just enjoy the day. Fuse. Oh, I didn't check here. No. One of the issues with doing that is that you'll get games that don't work. Yeah, that's exactly right. Because people think they're being funny or have been drinking. Okay. Thought we need. I think maybe putting a fuse in here. Well, that happens. You do get some good games because people do the right thing and have right tastes. But sometimes one of the things that happens is someone has good intentions, but just has very bad taste. Oh man, look at that. Actually, I could have opened that earlier. So if we had to come back here. Can we take this guy's lunch? I can't see where else we need a fuse though. I think the other thing too is that we need to look at a few games, right? But then I think I need to be in control of saying, okay, look at one. If someone can suggest a game, I can just look at that, and if I go, whether they have good intentions or not, if I look at a game and go, I'm not playing that for the stream, I just don't show it. Yeah, so like with a mini tog, I would just put forward the games I want to put forward. I didn't even think about this door. Because you got to remember, at the end of the day, like even if someone has channel points, I can look at their game and just go no and refund their points. And if they want to get upset about it, I can just be like, look, it's not an appropriate game, or I don't think I'd like it. You know, this isn't a make Panz play a game because you want to make me play a game. This is something that I want to share with people and have a good experience with. Yeah, and the other thing too, like the tournament, you know, the first game of the tournament, usually it's a month later before it gets played. Well, if the tournament ends on like the 15th, so it can be 3 weeks later at most, I guess. I'd rather do it with new titles though, for stuff like that. Like we did, like this game that we tried today has been in early access for less than 2 months. Is that gonna... Yep. How hard it would be to make a Steam browsing bot? What are you looking for? I'm gonna go left first. For no reason. Okay, there's nothing there. Browse Steam. No. I mean, it would be hard to make. It would be pretty hard to get it to give good results. So we were talking earlier about Little Nightmares 2 is coming out in February. And I was trying to work out what type of genre to call that. Oh, dang it, secret. And Valkyrie says, oh, I'll go check. I'll be back in a second. Comes back and says something like, platformy puzzle horror adventure game. And one, that's not a genre. And I said, did you just read the tags off Steam? And he's honest, he said, no, Google. And I'm like, okay, well... Oh, there you go. Speaking of Valkyrie, there he is right now. And that's the thing, like, all the elements that were read out, I could see being a part of Little Nightmares, but I wouldn't call it any of those. You know what I mean? Yeah, Steam hosts some pretty bad games. Steam recommended me another one, and I was going to post it in Discord for you, Kizron. And I looked at him like, I'm not posting this in Discord. And I can't remember what it's called either, but you would have gotten a laugh out of it. They might have, you know, I reckon the girls had plenty of hips in that one. It was... Oh man, I'm trying to think what it was called now. Man, I was laughing so hard. Like I was flicking through the Steam pictures, and I was just laughing and laughing and laughing. Okay, so that just goes to a secret, not to where we actually need to go. Well, so Little Nightmares was a puzzle platform horror adventure because it has puzzles in it. And there are some platforming elements. And there's some scary moments, so someone would have picked horror. And it's an adventure of some sorts. So it ticks all the boxes, but doesn't really Like, they don't really add up. Now I'm lost. We did backtrack and find a secret, so I guess there's that, but... Oh, the one thing I didn't do was try to go on the submarine. But what's the genre for something like Limbo is another example of that, and Inside. I mean, granted, those two are both the same, like, the same dev and very similar games. Silent narrative. I don't know. I'll definitely be playing Little Nightmares 2 though. And we're definitely going to have a go with Genshin tomorrow. Oh, we were just on the other side of that. Those bars. Lara seems to be doing okay with the hypothermia here. Tags are fewer put in, or dev. I don't think Steam actually does anything. It's all, like, you can tag any game whatever you want. And I don't know what the process required to get the tag removed is. Like, enough people need to say no, or anyone can remove a tag. So you do get a lot of games that will have horror because they had some skeletons in them, or someone got a little bit scared while playing. And I think Atmospheric, you know, usually gets a horror put on it because people don't want to differentiate. Yeah, the tags are definitely misleading. Not that we ever accuse them of being useful. Okay, so I don't think it's there. I think we can't plumb for anything in there. Why is there music all of a sudden? Wait. Developers and publishers, or whoever loads up the Steam site, definitely put the tags in at the start. Where am I getting shot from? But then, yeah, users add to it afterwards. Okay, something definitely happened when we went through there. Yeah, it looked like I was getting shot in the back too as well, right? The window? Oh, is that in the head? Can I mouse here? Can't do it. It's so inaccurate as well. Am I getting shot by? What? Okay. So, probably needed that sort of bulletage anyway. Didn't need the accuracy. I mean, yeah, I didn't need the accuracy of the thing, but we definitely needed the, I'd say the quick takedown of it. No complaint, Peter. Yeah. It depends if you broadcast, like how you broadcast it, but yeah, generally your stereo is good. It will be stereo, and just the way that stereo works in, you know, try to giving you that front and back. It does, yeah. Tried to learn about the how do you get a forward and backwards from a left and right speaker at one stage, and I kind of was understanding it a little bit, but then I think I started getting more confused as I tried to learn a bit more. So I was happy just being a little ignorant. Alright, Valkyrie, have a great day tomorrow. I'll see you for Genshin Impact. Let's start the stream. So I'm guessing we jump on here, and the crane will automatically swing it round to the thing. Crane swing it round. Oh. Wait, there's a button already. Where did you come from? Have I witnessed the Dolby Atmos experience, or whatever it's called? No, and I don't even know what it is, or whatever it's called. Surround sound and steroids. Yeah, but isn't that using multiple speakers system setup? Yeah, it is neat seeing that sort of stuff. Oh, don't sulk, Lara. It's only the fourth video game in a row you've been kidnapped.
To our little assignment. Leonid, if you would escort this lady to the brig.
Your little assignment? You have no idea what your mafia financed assignment is, do you, Admiral?
Young lady, who you are and what you know is of very little concern to me. If I was captain of my ship, I might listen to you. But unfortunately, the situation I find myself in doesn't allow me that privilege. So if you would be quiet and hurry along like a good little girl. Inside, please.
You're making a grave mistake. You know that?
Under no circumstances open this door. Do you understand?